They say in life to be careful what you wish for, but no one, and I mean no one, could have predicted the absolute capitulation that we've seen at Stamford Bridge following the departure of Roman Abramovich and the introduction of the Todd Bowley ball, fool's ball era. And I want to start with you, Matthew, on this note. Obviously, it's been a very tumultuous season, to put it lightly. I think we could call it a crap show, and that would be fair. I think we could also call it diabolical and shameful. But let's just focus on the last couple of games. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Champions League game that played last night and the excitement there. And I think there was definitely some promise for the rest of the season going forward. But Lampard's return, and it has been so sad to watch. What's your thoughts been so far on the Todd Bowley horror show?
It is not working. Whatever process he has put in since coming in at the back end of last season to where it is now, whatever he's done or whatever he's doing, whatever he's set up, it's just not working. And the worst thing is that even with the summer coming up, with no football coming up, no like tournament or anything like that, at the return of next season, minus European football, you just don't know how it's going to get any better depending on who we like get in. We've had two failed managers back to back, which is a very un-Chelsea thing, Graham Potter didn't work out, really unfortunate, but, at least we're getting chances, just not scoring. Then you get Frank Lampard, and that's now dropped. Again, I don't get why he would have come, but at the same time, I feel for the guy because he's come in and he just doesn't know what to do at this club. He just doesn't know what to do. And he's part of the fabric of what we're so successful in the first place. So you can't even say that he's there just to pick up the vibes and just make things happy again. There is no happy Chelsea fan right now. Just seeing what has become in the space of 12 months from when Roman had those sanctions and eventually had to leave, what a difference it makes. And just seeing how far we have fallen. And the questions now, you've had the manager, the players, and even though he's only been there for a short time, the questions will eventually go to this owner. Like, what are you doing? All the things you've done, making yourself control over everything, having James Corden having words in your ear about how to run a football club from a West Ham fan, by the way, and just having now, as of today, even some like senior players who know what the game is about, coming out for a change. So now it's getting worse and worse every single day. It's not just pundits and fans coming out. Now you got your own players coming out, your own staff coming out after, I know you had a thing going on in the dressing room against Brighton. Now they're coming out and saying something. So you're losing. It's like a mutiny. It's like some kind of mutiny to show what's going on here. And it's going to get, I still got the feeling, even now, it's still going to get worse before it gets better. You only have to look at the table to see just how bad things have got. Crystal Palace have got back their old manager, and I think they're 6 or 3 points behind. At the start, when we came back from the international break, when our first game was Aston Villa, they were level on points with us. They're now sixth with 50 points? And that was since the international break. That was only in March. So that was only 4 or 5 games ago. And now look at where we are as just a symbol of how things have just gone completely toilet duck in a not very long space of time. So it's just going to get worse before it gets better. I could talk about the game, the Brighton game. And the funny thing is, just looking at Brighton is we saw what we wanted to be. The Brighton manager, De Zerbi, gave us an absolute schooling on where we should be right now. And the funny thing is that we took their old manager to do exactly what he's doing right now. So what we're going to do, go to De Zerbi and take him well, and then for him to flop? That's why we took Potter in the first place. He plays good football. De Zerbi plays good football. And we just got schooled. It was like Brighton was a home game that day. And then he goes backstage to the dressing room, which I'm very uncomfortable with, by the way. It's just, you can tell in my voice, I'm just I've said it so many times.
Let's touch on that for a second, because you mentioned about Todd Bowley going into the dressing room after the games, and that's been a thing that has been publicised a lot this week, especially after last night's game. He was in the dressing room again. And in fact, let me just share what has come out from, this is allegedly. So allegedly, Tom Bowley asked the Chelsea players why they were not performing to the level their price tags and reputation suggested they were capable of. This is after you got knocked out of Champions League against, obviously, Real Madrid. How do you feel when you hear about those quotes from the owner, who surely has to see and understand the negative impact that he's had on the squad? How do you feel about those quotes?
That sounds like someone who doesn't know how football works. Why would bear in mind, I think he's talking to the newer players, right? That's why he's saying to the newer players, like, why is, who says that to your new players who've only been in for 4 months, who probably barely know the Premier League? And the first thing is, we're paying about your price tag. Who cares about that necessarily about the price tag? Like, what about saying, like, why would you mention that? I mean, and why are you undermining a manager that you got in, the second manager that you got in? Surely it's down to the man on the man in the dugout to have a word like that. If it's that deep, call Frank in, have a talk and talk to him there. Don't air your thing against all the other players. I mean, in any workplace, when the CEO or whatever comes in and undermines the manager that's there that you hired, that makes you look just as bad, because it makes you like the incompetent ones. Like, well, you hired me, okay? Like, let me deal with it. I'm the one with the 4 losses on his back. I'm the one who's barely scored any goals. I'm the one who's got to look for these players day in, day out and try and get a tune out of them. Let me do my job. So you coming in like that, it's just a complete undermine, and almost says to me that somehow, you've made a mistake. It just like screams of inexperience of someone who wants to take full charge of a football club. You just bought the most expensive players you could find, because if they're expensive, they must be good. And it shows you justified, it's like you're gaslighting for masking your vast inexperience in how the Premier League works. So it just makes you, if anything, makes you look like a proper villain now, and just one sure way the fans are going to jump on your back even more.
On that note, I just want to share some quotes from Thiago Silva that he said after the game last night. There's several quotes that's from a really good interview that he gave. But the first one I'll start with is him just kind of talking about the general mood within the camp. So this is following the exit. He said, it's a bit of frustration, a bit of disappointment, a bit of anger. It's possibly my last match in the Champions League, and it's sad to finish like that. The frustration is there, above all, how the game went. He also went on to share his thoughts about the decisions made by the ownership in terms of the players brought in. And he said, it's 2 things. He said, we can't blame coaches if we don't take responsibility. It's a difficult moment for Chelsea. Lots of changes. We have many top players, but you also have some unhappy. Then he went on to say, we need a strategy in order to not make the same mistakes next season. We signed 8 players in January. We need to stop and put a strategy in place. Otherwise, next season, we could make the same mistakes. Pretty strong words. Pretty damning. I think for you, Craig, when you hear that coming out from a player, obviously a player that cares a lot, and we know that with his wife Bella, whenever anything happens, anyone speaks out against him, she's the first one to jump in and clap back and defend her husband, because he is your best friend. So for you, Craig, when you hear those quotes, how do you think, and what kind of general mood does it sum up about Chelsea?
They bought too many players. They got too many players on big wages. Overpaid for some players, like Modric, for example. It's not worth 85 million you paid for him. No disrespect to Matthew, but
Barely play him anyway.
Yeah,
2 managers that barely play him.
You got rid of 2 managers this season. You got rid of your Champions League winning manager, Thomas Tuchel, who, if he stayed at Chelsea, most likely would have turned around the form, and you got you higher up the table, got you challenging for the trophies. You brought in Graham Potter. You're thinking, he plays attractive football. You would think he'll try and win matches. He'll try and get you up the table. Didn't work out. You brought back Frank Lampard, and I feel that's a big step back. It's not like under the Abramovich days when you sack a Mourinho and you bring in like a Gus Hiddink, who's got experience, who's won big trophies and won new trophies when he was interim manager. So, and something Lampard said yesterday as well, or yesterday or Monday, Monday I think he said that the players are not fit enough. So they said that all the players in the team are not fit enough. So
some of them don't play.
That's the problem. You got
Some of them don't play. You've got 30 players, and I think you only probably use 18 on a regular basis. You're not in any cups. You're not in the Champions League or anything like that. So you're just focusing on strictly on league games. So of course, not all of them are going to have fitness. Half of them, I barely remember any of them because how many have started. I mean, one of our strikers, not Aubameyang, was Bashide. I don't even remember. I can't remember the last time he's seen him. And when he plays him, when he's good, he gets taken off. I'm not surprised by that.
And not only that, like you've got like a lot of unhappy players. Like I know Aubameyang is definitely unhappy. You got a lot of players who like maybe Madrid looks unhappy as well. Like, did I make the right decision coming to Chelsea?
The contract.
You got Thiago Silva who cares. I think some of the players don't care. That's the problem. A lot of players think, I don't care. I got big wages. I don't care. I'm just gonna sit. If they don't play me, I'm gonna sit on. Ziyech. Hakim Ziyech can't be happy at Chelsea.
He's foot out.
He hasn't played for the last 2 months. I'm saying he played for the last 2 months. He had a good World Cup for Morocco, and I think the biggest issue at Chelsea is that they haven't got they don't know their best 11. That's the problem. You guys don't know your best 11. You got over 30-odd players, a massive 30-odd squad, and you only can pick how many players can you pick? You only can pick 11 plus 5 subs. So you every week you have
over
half of that.
Make 2 really good teams.
And the problem is like, a lot of players are not getting, like, apparently in training, a lot of players are not able to change in the changing room. Players are changing outside, in a corridor. That's not going to be good for morale. And you spend a lot of money on big name players with big reputations, and they haven't lived up to the reputations of the season. But is the players to blame or is the coaching to blame? Because if you're a player and you're not playing to the best of your ability, the ability that you can play for, then you have to start taking a look at yourself or look at the management. Is coaching them properly? Are they being coached into the right system? Say, for example, if Pep Guardiola was Chelsea manager now and he was playing against Real Madrid last night, I'm sure he would be able to get a tune out of those players last night than Lampard. I feel, maybe.
Okay, so let's go on to that actually, because I think that's a bit unfair, especially in relation to how the game went yesterday for Chelsea against Real Madrid. I think you played really well.
We did. That's the worst thing, is that we weren't even bad. Over both legs, we weren't bad.
I think for me that the sad thing is that they had a really good game plan. Like I'll give it to Frank. I think he coached a really good performance. So kind of the tactics of what you wanted to do, playing a box in midfield. So you had Kovacic and Enzo Fernandez at the base, and then having Gallagher and Kante in the free roles ahead of them to kind of support the attack, support Havertz, and then you had Cucurella and James on the outside getting, and you guys were making chances. The only problem is the chances you were making were falling to Gallagher and Kante. And it's really weird because I was even telling my work colleague this today that I think this game was made for Mason Mount.
It was.
But for the current negative sentiment around him, I don't actually know why you're fans of... I know he went through a period of bad form, but the way there's a general dislike that I've seen online, I don't know if it reflects in the stadium, but there's a general dislike against him, and it's just kind of like Mason Mount, we don't really vibe with him anymore. I don't understand. But this game was tailor-made for him, weirdly, and I think if he had started, he might have got a goal. Because I remember last season... Again,
he's done it before,
so
he can do it. He's done it twice. He's done it before. He can do it again. And under Frank, he was great. Under Frank, he knows Frank. He's played with him at Derby and at youth level. Like, he's watched him grow from when we first signed him and sent him out on loan. If there's one player that knows Mount very well, it's Frank. And like you said, that's the most frustrating thing. I'm watching this game thinking I'm not expecting nothing, but Real Madrid, they were quite conservative yesterday. Very conservative. I mean, there was always a danger they could come back and score, and sure enough, it happened twice. But the chances were falling to the wrong people. Someone else would have buried them.
I agree.
Really would have buried them. So it's really frustrating because and you can just see that we're not an 11th place team. Nowhere near an 11th place team. I'm not saying we're necessarily going to be fighting for league titles, but we're not 11th. And I genuinely believe we could have had them. We really, really, really could have had them. But, it was fun while it lasted. It was fun while it lasted. We had nothing to lose anyway. So.
Yeah, you put in a decent performance. And, maybe changing personnel, maybe starting him out, maybe giving Felix a free role. maybe even Sterling and Friel, maybe even Pulisic. I think there's a lot that could have been done with that same structure. Keep that 4-man in or that 4 players in midfield, but one of them should have been an actual goal threat. Because I think Kante and Gallagher, they worked really well, but the chances they got, you wanted them to fall to someone else. Maybe a Felix, maybe a Sterling, maybe a Pulisic, maybe a Mount.
Hell, even though Reece James, he put one in the back.
Yeah. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. On the topic of, the game itself, and like I said, Frank did really well. However, as a manager, in his last 17 games, he has only won 1 match and he has drawn 2, which means that he's lost 14 out of his last 17 games as a manager. That's from his spell at Everton and his spell back at Chelsea again. Which begs the question, I'm going to start with you on this one, Craig. Why did Todd Bowley, on the advice of James Corden, think that this made sense? And should they have just stuck with Potter and seen out the season?
They should have stuck with Potter to the end of the season. Because Frank Lampard was a great player, like Chelsea legend. He'll always be a Chelsea legend. No matter what happens this season or whatever happens, he's always going to be a Chelsea legend. But is he tarnishing his reputation, his legacy now as a legend at the club with results? Matthew, what do you think?
As a player, I don't think it's always the door will always be open to him. The door is always going to be open. If he needs to come in and have a role, a different kind of role, like an ambassador, what Czech was or Makaleli was, or as a representative as a club, the door will always be open. I just think that management at this level maybe a bit of a bridge too far. I mean, it was for Gerrard, and unfortunately, in some cases, it was for Vieira as well. They might want to cut their cloth a bit lower down in another league. There's no shame going to the Championship. Look what companies doing in Burnley, for example. I wouldn't say he's tarnishing his legacy per se, but I just don't know why he was hired at a time when we need to be climbing up the table. We need to be seeing something that needs to be salvaged. I mean, the 4 games he's had, he hasn't won 1. I don't get how someone who's failing at Everton would get a tune out here. I mean, the players aren't going to necessarily listen to him because they know he's only in here until the end of the season and then he's off. So why are they going to listen to him? Why not get someone who maybe has some kind of like a vision of a plan with the players where you're going to be doing this. For some of you guys, it might possibly be your last few games here. So give yourself a good account because best believe players will be watching. No matter what, other clubs are always watching. So show us what you got. If you're genuinely not happy here, you can go off somewhere else. But I don't know. I mean, would I have been happier with Potter? Well, he was getting more chances. So the general answer is I really don't know.
Isn't it also a bit weird that you haven't actually gone for that permanent manager? Obviously, we don't know if you're not having talks to the likes of Nagelsmann, and obviously there's talk of Gallardo. But are you a bit surprised that you haven't actually made that move for your next permanent manager as opposed to the temporary one?
I'm not. I mean, I think we are making a move for a permanent one. I just don't think those permanent ones want to come to us because they're looking at us, looking on the inside, thinking that is a ship sinking so fast. There's no amount of patching will ever bring it back up. You could go with someone like Nagelsmann, and who's the one guy you said it before?
Marcelo Gallardo.
We could go with someone like him, or do we go back? Look, it's like we've tried 2 project managers in the space of 3 years, and you can safely probably say it hasn't probably worked. So it also depends on our approach. Do we want to go for a project manager where we can build a team, get some sustainability, and get that maybe 4 or 5 years from now? Or do we go with what we know what works? Go for the established and go hard. Go for your Enriques. Go for your Zidanes. Go for your Pochettinos or whatever. Which path does it want to be gone down? Nagelsmann to me seems like another project, but a project who knows how to work at the highest tempo in the league. Granted, when he left, they were second in the Bundesliga, but he seems to be like one of the favourites. But I look at him. Is he? What are you expecting from him? Are you expecting project? Because it's already there. I mean, a £600 million project. It's a very hard thing to say because it's 600 million. But what exactly is he going to be like producing for us? Because I know a lot of fans are mixed feelings about him. Very, very mixed feelings about him because he's not exactly what you call proven, but he knows how to fight at the highest tempo. So it's like, it seems like the most likely candidate who wants to come. I don't think more established managers do like want to come. So I've also heard Ancelotti's name apparently as well. So would he come back? I don't think so.
I don't think he should come back. I think he should preserve his sanity. Let's move on from one minor disappointment to another minor disappointment. We had another London derby, Arsenal against West Ham at the London Stadium. We started off like a bat out of hell. And we just got complacent and we did a troops. Sparked up anyway. If you know, you know. If you don't worry about it. That's what that means. But yeah, we kind of just got very relaxed and we were playing Bob Marley football. That's it. We were playing Bob Marley football when we should have really just gone in for the kill and done a John Wick. But unfortunately, we didn't do that. For you, Craig, how do you look back on that game?
I was watching a game at work or tuning a lot. I was at work eating lunch. My phone kept on, was vibrated twice. Tuning a lot. Yes. I'm going to go on and win the game. Then before half time, then Partey got the ball. He tried to flip the ball onto Declan Rice's hand. Declan Rice pressed him so hard, bulldozed his way through, played a beautiful pass into Paqueta. Paqueta went through. Gabriel tried to get out the way. It was one of the softest penalties I've seen in my life. It didn't even clip. It was a little clip. It wasn't a massive clip. It was like his knee just caught like the side of his ankle. Not even a
50-51.
I'll quickly say this. Tom Daly would be so proud. Proud.
Brazilian on Brazilian. So he was very smart, got the penalty, 2-1. Yeah, they scored the penalty 2-1. The equalising goal, it was 2-1. Then second half, we had a chance to make it 3-1. But I'm not going to blame Bukayo Saka for missing a penalty because he scored every goal, every penalty he's taken for Arsenal this season he scored. I'm not going to blame him. We all can go through bad. We all miss a. Every top player has missed a penalty in their life. Ronaldo missed a penalty in the Champions League final. Cristiano Ronaldo. All the big players have missed penalties in their life, so it's not a big thing. The thing that I don't understand is he missed the goal, missed the penalty, then 5 minutes later, West Ham go to the other end and scored a goal. Ramsdale, would he have saved it? I don't want to blame him either because he's had a great season. He made a lot of good saves. He saved us against Liverpool last week, so it'd be kind of harsh for us to blame Ramsdale. But one thing I have to say, the last 6 or 7 games, every game we conceded goals. We beat Leeds, we conceded a goal. We beat Crystal Palace, we conceded a goal. I think our lapse in concentration in defence is a problem now. It's been for the last couple of weeks. It seems like we're like a fast car. We go zoom, do what we need to do, get to the finish. When it comes to the finish line, it's like run out of petrol, run out of steam. And I feel like we need to be more ruthless and learn how to kill off teams like we did against Fulham. In the first half, 3-0 bang. Second half, we're just playing around, not like that, relaxing. We didn't do that against West Ham. We thought we were 2-0 up. We got gas. We thought, we're going to win the game. And then we didn't win the game. But I feel that, to be honest, it's been a great season. We're still top of the league. We got Southampton on Friday. We beat Southampton on Friday, 7 points clear. Going to Man City on Wednesday next week. As long as we avoid defeat, I still think we can go on and win the league. Or we can go to City. We haven't beaten City for a while. Maybe we should go out there and try to beat City. City are thinking they're going to be invincible for the rest of the season, but this game, last time we played them, we didn't have Jesus up front. Jesus is going to want to prove a point against his former club. Shevchenko, if he's fit, is going to want to prove a point against his former club. Why did you sell me, kind of thing? So, looking forward to the game on Friday. We have to cut out the mistakes. Hopefully, Saliba's back in training now, so hopefully he'll be fit to play or come on to sub. And we just need to be just win all our games, we win the league. We can't drop any more points.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good summation of, I guess, your perspective on the game. I do want to start off talking about the manner in which we consider the goals. And like you said, it is a pattern. Actually, it's been a pattern throughout this whole season, the way that our intensity drops off. From pre-season through till now, our first 20 minutes in the game, we are electric. And that's been a consistent thing from the summer in pre-season, and it's carried through to the season, and that's been great. The problem, like you've said, is that lately, especially the last 7 games, but I think it's been going on longer. But since the World Cup ended and the league resumed, our defensive frailties are starting to be a bit more apparent. And I think it is concerning that we are going 2-0 up, or at least we're controlling a game, and then our intensity is dropping off. For you, Matthew, when you look at that kind of pattern, the last few games, going 2-0 up, and then sort of losing control in that we're not doing things at the same intensity. How do you feel about that?
It's like if that's the case, you're picking the wrong time of the year to do it. We've only got some teams have only got 7 or 8 games left, and you've already got your biggest rivals coming up. It's next week. Southampton, you're home away for that one?
Home.
You're home. Now, it looks dead and buried for them, but don't underestimate a team that's up for a fight. They could turn around somehow and, put one. I'm not saying they're going to win. I don't think they will, but you wouldn't be surprised if they put one on you if they're not careful. They're still kind of hanging on to that survival by a thread. But you're going to have harder games come up where it's these moments here, you look back at certain games thinking that goal shouldn't have been conceded, that goal shouldn't have been conceded, and that West Ham game is going to be pivotal because those 2 goals you could argue didn't need to happen if your defence just held strong for pretty much the entire game. When you're looking to do the unlike what no one thought was going to happen at the start of the season, where you're going up there to lift that big old trophy after how many years, it pays to have that discipline for the last few games. Just stand firm. Just work at it. Just stay solid for the whole way, because it's looking more and more likely it's going to happen. There is no more purple patch. There is no more mess up. The possibility of Arsenal winning the league is very, very strong, and pretty much been on top of a thing since February, or even longer than that. He's been on top of the table for most of the season, and normally what that says is that the team on top goes and wins. But you're 4 points ahead currently. What you don't want to do is to let that creep in very, very slowly towards the end, because you're going to have Man City. Who else have we got at the end? You've got
Newcastle, Chelsea,
Newcastle,
Brighton,
Wolves,
the last game of the season,
and Wolves the last game. No, so those main games before those games, the Wolves, the Chelsea, and the Brighton and Newcastle. There's potential to slip up at any one of those teams. So if you got whatever Mikel's doing, get that defensive solidity back, because that's what Premier League teams willing to do. It's not just about scoring goals; it's stopping them from the other team.
Yeah, Thomas Partey needs to just kind of get it together, because he's been a bit sloppy last few games. I think Bukayo has also been off form as well, and maybe shouldn't start on Friday. But at the same time, he's going to be hungry to make up for that penalty miss. So I would put him on the bench, bring him on. I'd start Trossard or Reece, but or Smith Rowe.
That's another thing I want to ask. Why has Smith Rowe played a lot of matches recently? He hasn't come off the bench at all the last couple of games.
We remember when Martinelli, we went into, was it this season or last season? I think it's the back end of last season how he barely played games.
Yeah.
People were wondering what's going on, and so I just hate the guy. It can be down to 2 things. Most likely it's fitness, but it could also just be that they're trying to train him to play in a position to a certain standard and a certain level of output. Martinelli last year, or at least the start of last season, was not the player that ended last season. And he's not the player that started this season, that's been flying this season. So I think with Smith Rowe, you've got to look at it that way. Arteta has worked wonders with wingers with his time at Man City. Look at how he refined Sterling and Sane's game, turning them into just output machines. Now, those are 2 players that had the raw attributes. And anyone who's watched Sterling when he was younger, he was always doing that. But it's just the consistency. And it's doing it, in the games that matter. And for Man City, he was clutch. Sane was clutch. So I wouldn't really be too worried about Smith Rowe in terms of getting minutes. I think what we need from him is when we do bring him in, he needs to deliver something. Because I don't think there's any fans that don't rate him, but we want to see him.
And the thing is as well, like on Sunday, I would have brought him on, Instead of Nketiah, I would have brought on Smith Rowe. You know why? Because he's got a good record against West Ham. I remember he scored at the Emirates last season against West Ham. I feel like he's running at them in the last couple of minutes. And I think he made his substitutions too late on Sunday as well. He made them... I would have taken off Saka in the second half because he looked tired. I think he looks very tired. The last 2 games, he looked very, very tired. No, I don't think he's out of form. I think he's just tired. I think against Southampton, he said, I'll rest him. Play a Nelson or play a or even play a Trossard and bring him on second half, or rest him for Man City, resting him completely for Man City.
No, I'd bring him on second half. If I don't start, I'd play him. Yeah, because you want to get that rhythm. You want to get that miss out your system. You don't want to carry that miss to Man City.
Yeah.
And then it's extra pressure. If we get a penalty, who takes it? Him or Jesus? You don't want that pressure. He'll take it. But I think also, on that note, I think the bigger issue for me is that West Ham equalised, I think, around the 58th minute. We had so much time to get the winner and turn around. We just never looked like really threatening them. Like, we just played safe passes. When Jorginho came on, we had a good amount of control, but there wasn't any of that intensity.
Yeah.
We weren't punching the balls into the front line.
Yeah, if you want intensity,
Trossard was next to Ødegaard at times. A lot of the time, he needed to be higher up the pitch. In fact, that was a game in Nketiah probably should have come on earlier.
That's what I'm saying. He made the subs too late. I thought he brought on Reece Nelson, not 90th minute or 89th, 80-something minute. He's not going to make it. I know he did it against Bournemouth, but he needed more time on the pitch.
Yeah, we just
and
didn't
it wasn't
punch the ball
working.
through the lines.
So when Jorginho came on, you were already 2 ahead, weren't you?
No, well, 2-2.
No, it was 2-2.
That's the wrong time to bring it on. You bring him on when you'd bring him on before they try and start scoring, so he can control that midfield a little bit more, and occasionally ping a really good pass when you're runners. So
When he came on, he helped reestablish the control that we'd lost, and we were actually keeping the ball. We were moving a lot better, but then it just wasn't enough forward line penetration. So the ball we were cycling through them around the middle of the park. We were working it into wide areas, but in that we weren't punching it into the middle. We weren't punching it into the central area where they were still vulnerable, which we were showing in the first half. We weren't moving it fast enough. It was just too pedestrian. It was too predictable. It was too safe. And I think that's something that we need to be able to, as a team, develop the ability that in a game like this, where we have control, then we lose control, we need to regain control and just do what we're doing in the first half. Why is it like Holding was punching in passes into players, looking sharp and crisp and respectable to League One football? Lump it long, Sunday League style. Like, it's just not, like, what are we doing? Like, we know how we want to play. Keep it on the floor, give it into your players' feet. Why are we going long?
We don't have the physical striker. We don't have a Giroud up top to hold it up like that. So, and it was Jesus against the two defenders, and they're the bigger defenders than him. So it's not gonna win the ball in the air.
No,
all
I don't
the
agree
time.
with that.
What?
Jesus has shown us this season that he can hold the ball up against.
No,
bigger,
what I mean, he
defenders.
can, but I mean, he's not got the Giroud physicality where you do flick-ons and all that
Doesn't need
stuff.
to do flick-ons.
Or you mean like a linchpin, like a focal point?
He doesn't need to do that. I think this season he's shown that when we've played the ball, I think you're forgetting how good he is with his back to goal and the stuff he was doing pre-injury. It's not so much that he can't do it now. It's just he hasn't done it as much in games, but he can hold the ball up. I don't think that's the issue. The issue was we took him off really early. Now that might have been a concern for his fitness or whatever, but he didn't look happy coming off. But I think the other issue is that when he did come off, we weren't playing the ball in the same areas. He was coming deep to receive the ball prior to coming off. He, like I said, Trossard was next to Ødegaard a lot of the time in the second half when he came off. Jesus was next to him, and Jesus was getting the ball off the defenders. At one point, Jesus was playing right back.
Wow.
Back in the first half. This was at 2-1. He was playing right back. And I think that was the problem. Like, when your centre forward has to come that deep to get the ball and to try and get things moving, the rest of the players aren't stepping up. And I think Ødegaard he got his goal, but then he just didn't really rise it. Partey was having a jolly up. He was playing like a man who had a lot of on his mind.
I think last 2 games, Partey has not been the dominant Partey that we know he can be. I don't know what's going on.
He's just being complacent. He's playing beach football.
But since the international break that we had recently, he has not been the same player since the international break. Because before the international break, he was solid. Now, the last 2 games, he's looking a bit... Remember against Liverpool, I said to you, I would have taken either him or Xhaka off.
Yeah.
Even Xhaka hadn't looked the same recently either, the last 2 games either. I think his level has dropped a little bit as well.
I think you also have to take into consideration as well that for the team, we have Rob Holding at the back. And I didn't really want to get into Rob, but I'm going to get into him. When you get out-muscled, as you said, Craig, at home, when you get out-muscled by Ben Rama in a 50-50 situation, we've got a problem here.
Damn.
Mikel Antonio, I don't mind. And he did brush him about a few times. That I can understand. My man, he won no aerial duels, no ground duels.
Ben Rama.
No, in the whole match.
Jesus.
No aerial duels won, no ground duels won. And at that point, you're handicapping the team. And it really does call into question what we do now, especially with the Man City game. I think against Southampton, we could play him again. It won't be too much of an issue because we're at home. The crowd will carry the team through. But against Man City, if Saliba is 20% fit, 80% injection. If he's 70% fit, 30% injection. It's one of the situations where we might have to risk it. And I don't know if it's a sensible risk, or he does something really clever and left field and tries Tierney at right back, brings Ben White back in with Gabriel. So at least we have somewhat of a regular system. And to be fair, that might actually work, Tierney at right back, because then it will cut out Grealish's cutting in on his right foot. It will hamper us attacking wise because, you know, Tierney likes to get around the outside and he can overlap. But what's he going to do when he gets out there? He's going to have to check back on his left foot. So that might hamper us a bit, but it might surprise them. I don't see us playing Royal Waters. And all those fans saying that we should play Royal Waters, I'm sorry, it'll be his first senior appearance against the best team in England, because we're the best on, you know, we're top of the table, but Man City are still the best team in the country. You don't give a player that opportunity. It's just crazy.
It's not fair. It wouldn't be fair.
But if he makes a mistake and costs us the game, then that his confidence is like they did with Saka online. Some of the stuff they put, the abuse Saka got online over there was disgusting. I was so angry. I had to write something on one of the guys reposted on his page, and I said, "Listen, don't do that, man." I had to say something. I was very upset about that.
Unbelievable.
I didn't like that at all.
I just think for me, what I don't like, and it's a lot of you, anyway, not you listeners, you guys are great, but those people out there who have half a brain cell and have to share it amongst them every day to just survive. Why is it when a player makes a mistake or, you know, costs your team, it's just football. It's not like, why do we have to go to racial abuse? Like even, for example, the AC Milan players heading into the coach before the Champions League game last night against Napoli, the monkey chanting that was directed towards Rafael Leao, it's disgusting.
By who? The Napoli fan?
By Napoli fans.
Napoli
Disgusting.
fan,
Well,
yeah.
I'm assuming, look, I don't know if it's Napoli fans, but they were fans booing the Milan players
If you want to call them,
in a game when Napoli played against them. Is it Napoli fans? Probably.
But Napoli got black players in their team, haven't they?
Isn't their best striker a black man?
They got several because it don't make no sense.
Wasn't their best defender a black man as well?
It just don't make no sense. But this is the thing, like, why is it that that's the place that people feel like it's the go-to? Like, it's pathetic. Like, for real, grow up. And if not,
Don't come back.
disappear.
Don't come back. We don't want you.
We don't want you.
I said the same
In football, outside of football,
In society.
Anyway.
in society, just control all. Anyway.
Because those fans will be the same
you know.
ones when England say if England win the trophy, they'll be the same fans that turn around and I always love Saka, they'll flip reverse like that. They're the same people.
Yeah. And it's the fact that they went to the picture is just disgusting, but the fact that you go to such deep, disgusting levels to try and get at someone for missing a penalty, which, to be fair, can happen. And also with the penalty, when you look at it, you can see what he tried to do. He tried to pick it. He tried to place his spot too much. He doesn't normally take penalties like that. And usually when he picks a spot, but he goes low or in the corner or to at least to that side, right? He really tried to put it in the middle, but quite high, but right inside the post. I think he's just a bit too precise. Should have kind of just gone for his usual roll it. But you live and you learn. There's also this other narrative going around about our lovely club that we have a soft mentality. A couple of idiots in the media were saying that, and some podcasters also saying that as well. Like, what's your take on that, Matthew? Do you think Arsenal have a soft mentality?
Or is in like just weak-minded kind of thing? Like, I mean, I wouldn't say so, seeing as the top of the league and how no one expects you to be at the start of the season. I mean, if you ask me, even not in November, do I think you'll still be here in April? The answer would be no. I thought Man City would eventually come and get you, but here we are. I mean, this has often been a criticism of your club for many, many years, where you say, where's the hunger, where are the hard men, where's the desire, where's this? And now you have it. And I think there's just this general kind of almost narrative as if they can't wait for you guys to kind of drop at some point and be like, well, I told you so. 37 games in, couldn't do it. We were right all along. Soft mentality. I think it can feel like an agenda. How I said about how I'm convinced that some people, well, namely one pundit, has an agenda against Pogba every time something goes wrong. I mean, you just gotta like. You just sometimes you have to exactly. You just have to acknowledge when they have moved on, and that's what's happened with you guys. You've moved on, like you said, from last year, a successful failure, and now you've addressed that by adding in just a few key players to make it right. And let's be real, you brought in two main players who know what it means to have a good mentality, a winning mentality, year in, year out. The Warriors in the final, and even if don't win, they are there. So they've introduced that, and that's kind of filtered down through the rest of your players in your club. And even like, say, in the January transfer window, acquiring Jorginho, who's won 2 European Cups since his time at Chelsea, a Club World Cup, who's worked under Thomas Tuchel, someone who knows how to win. So if anything, you've improved your mentality over the time. You're not gone other days where you don't want to be touched or be like just falling on the floor. Now you got players who are like up for the fight. I mean, in the past, Granit Xhaka, he'll be up for it. And I know he's not there now, but Kolasinac, he would have been up for a scrap. I mean, I wouldn't square up to him. So it's like, I just think it's why it gets difficult. And, it's very easy for me to say because the proof is in the pudding, because I can see it, how well you guys are doing, where credit has to be given. We have to drop or just say maybe that you're jealous. Or just maybe you're jealous of a team that you had no idea, and a club that's been in the spotlight from fans and fan channels and all this kind of thing. Maybe it's the fans of the fan channels you don't like. I don't know. Give credit. I don't know. But you got a mentality. Soft ain't it? If anyone's got a soft mentality, it's us.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say a soft mentality. Questionable, but not soft. The other thing I want to just say, just as like a final point on Arsenal, is that at work today we were having this discussion about the season, and one of the doctors asked me if Arsenal were to finish second, would you view this season as a success? So for you, Craig, I want to ask you how would you view this season if we don't end up getting top spot? Because for me, I've put it down as because looking at it from last season, it's the case of success versus progression. And I think there is that kind of hard seesaw of opinion on how you might view it. But for you, how would you look at this season if we don't secure the top spot?
Progression and failure. Progression is like we've progressed from where we finished the last 2 seasons, fifth, and lower than fifth. But been top almost the whole season. The only time we got knocked off top spot was only for one game when we lost against City, and then we retained it against Aston Villa. So we've been top all season, and for us to lose it now, psychologically, it could affect the whole team. But I am confident that we'll go on and win the league. If we win against Southampton and we don't lose against City next week, I think we can win all the rest of our games. But if we finish second, I'm not saying we are, but if it happens, I think it's a great season because nobody in the media expects us to get in the top 4 this season. Everyone said Arsenal going to fit outside the top 4. Yeah, the Gary Nevilles, all these pundits, I'm not even going to name them, all said that Arsenal going to struggle this season. So we've surprised everybody. Even everyone said top 4 prediction start the season. Liverpool going to finish in the second. Man City going to win it. Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea are going to top 4. That was the prediction of the season. Tottenham as well. But we surprised everyone. So I think Arsenal this season have been the underdogs all season. So if we win the league, it'll be one of the greatest wins in a long time. It'll be like Leicester winning all them seasons ago because nobody predicted Leicester will win the league. But if we finish runners up, it'll be a great progression, and it will show that next season we go again, get more quality players in to improve the squad, and we keep it moving from there, and we continue progression. But I personally, in my heart, I feel like we can go on. We still got a chance to win because Man City have got a lot of hard games coming up. I know they're playing now in Champions League, so they've got a lot of hard games coming up. They've got to play more games than us, and they've got to play Brighton the last game of the season, and Brighton's not going to be an easy game. We got them at home. We got them in, I think, second to last game of the season, and they got them as the last game of the season. Potentially, maybe by then, the league will be wrapped up by then, hopefully. So,
but also
yeah.
with that Brighton game, they will have Champions League qualification in mind. because I think they can still make it,
They
can't
can
they?
mathematically, it still can.
Yeah, so they might be in contention for a top 4. They're definitely in contention for top 6, and I think they'll get that, but there might be more to play for. So I think it is going to go down to the wire. And I think it's going to be hard for them because they're going to have to keep performing at their best, and they can't take their foot off the pedal. And if Bayern really give them a game, and in fact their last few games have shown that there is some vulnerability, but for Leicester having a bit more quality in their finishing,
Kelechi.
then, matters. Maybe we might have a different story right now. But I think the most important thing is that we're ahead. We have a margin. We can increase it at the weekend or Friday. And then we play them. And, we showed in 2 games we played against them so far this season, the league game, close game, well played to them. The cup, really close game. Tactically, we surprised them, completely surprised them. Man-to-man marking across the whole pitch. But for a bit of lazy defending, we might have gotten out of that one with a surprise 1-0 or surprise victory.
And
Unfortunately, it wasn't the case.
the goalkeeper was in good form that day because he saved Trossard's shot. I think he saved a couple of good shots that we took against him. Tommy has had a good shot as well, and he made a good world-class save. So, yeah, you're right.
So it's been fine margins, and I think that's the exciting thing, the fact that we can go toe-to-toe Manchester City, and it's fine margins that are making the biggest difference. Well, it's enough talk about the top of the table. Let's look at the bottom half. We've mentioned Chelsea already.
Oh my God.
It is a very, very interesting season. In fact, right now, just looking through the Premier League table, we've got in 11th place, we've got Chelsea on 39 points. In 20th place, we've got Southampton on 23 points. They're still not down and out. They could still make it. Their goal difference is minus 29. Above them, Leicester, 19th place, 25 points, minus 14 goal difference. Nottingham Forest in 18th place, 27 points, minus 32 goal difference. 17th place, we've got Everton on 27 points, minus 22 goal difference. Leeds in 16th place, 29 points, minus 20 goal difference. West Ham, 15th place, 31 points, minus 12 goal difference. Bournemouth, 14th place, 33 points, minus 28 goal difference. Wolves, 13th place, 34 points, minus 16 goal difference. Crystal Palace in 12th, 36 points, minus 9 goal difference. And last but not least, Chelsea, 11th place, 39 points, minus 3 goal difference. Potentially, this could be the first season in a long time where we might have up to 7 teams that could go down. Because I wouldn't be surprised if Southampton go on a crazy run, not starting on Friday, but go on a crazy run where they actually start picking up some points and making it interesting. But no one's really been able to pull away. I think Palace and Chelsea are safe. I think we can disregard them for now.
So Wolves are safe as well.
Wolves on 34.
2 more wins and they're safe, I think.
Yeah, I think Wolves is still a bit shaky. I think in 2 games' time, we'll see. But everyone else, Bournemouth, West Ham, Leeds, Everton, Forest.
Hard to call, It's very hard to call.
I think Bournemouth have done quite well because they were looking doom and gloom at one point. So
they went on a run. They picked up the points.
Yeah.
I mean, prior to that, Forest were on that run. Forest were previously in 13th, and now they're down to 18th. Southampton weren't 20th all this time.
No.
So it's really fast changing and everything's happening. And Everton they've not quite had the Sean Dyche bounce, but they have a game against Man City coming up soon. So all I'm saying is, if ever you wanted to wake up, no pressure. It's your own funeral and futures on the line, not ours. So, whatever they want, they could turn up. But I think looking at that, this has been an exciting season.
Best season in years.
Absolutely. Of those teams, give us 2 names that you would be gutted to see relegated. And I'll start with you, Matthew.
Forest and Leeds.
Greg?
Leeds and Forest. Yeah, I like Forest. Oh, wait. 2 teams. Leeds and... Yeah, Nottingham Forest. I like Nottingham Forest. They're a good team.
Yeah. I kind of want Southampton to stay up. We've taken quite a few of their, young academy talents over the years. And I kind of like what they did. And Leeds, it's got a strong affinity there for my uni days. Didn't go to Leeds, but I always got love for Yorkshire, so gonna have to rep them until Bradford get promoted. Then you guys can go down as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, it's been what an incredible season,
Wild.
and I'm really excited to see how it all pans out. And hopefully, between now and the end of the season, Lampard can really build on that positive performances in this game and try and get you some points, because you might be on 39, but if you continue on in this current vein, you might get dragged into that relegation battle. You shouldn't,
Brentford next.
but you might, because you're on relegation form right now.
We are. 4 games on the bounce. Nothing.
Where you play Brentford, home or away?
No, I think at home. I think it's at home this one.
This weekend?
Yeah.
Should win.
No, wait. 26 one next game. Because FA Cup weekend, so I think it's Wednesday, the same day. I think the same day you play
Man City. So we've got games on Tuesday,
midweek
Wednesday.
games.
this
It's
coming
FA
week.
Cup.
Yeah, it's a
after
midweek
that, we
games,
play
yeah.
you. After that, we play you.
Okay.
Big ones.
That's a big game, you know.
May the 2nd.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. It's going to be a massive week next week. Hopefully you guys can, I mean, if you want to, pull off a big game. This weekend, we've got Fulham Leeds. What are we expecting there? Fulham win, Leeds win, draw. Fulham are at home.
Fulham are in good form at the moment. He's got battered 6-1 by Liverpool on Monday. You know what? Yeah, I fancy Leeds away win.
Okay.
2-1.
2-1 Leeds.
Fulham are fighting for Europe. And I think they're in better things to do it. I could see like a 3-1 to Fulham.
1 to Fulham. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Brentford, Aston Villa. Brentford are at home. I feel what you're expecting.
Villa are on good form. Real good form. 5 wins. Villa win. 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 2-0.
2-2.
2-2 draw.
Desmond.
I'm backing Tony and Watkins to get a goal. I'm going to say 3-2 Villa. Just.
Not 3-1.
Mr. 3-1.
That only worked out in one game almost, and then Man City had to score again. Crystal Palace versus Everton at Selhurst Park. Palace are running sensational form since Roy Hodgson has come back, which just goes to prove sometimes you can spin the block and it can work out. Shame it didn't work out for you guys, but hey, still time.
I'm going for draw. 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw.
It's Palace versus
Everton. Palace are at home.
Eze's in form. I'm going 3-1 Palace.
I'm going 4-0 Palace. Leicester versus Wolves at Leicester. Craig, what are you expecting?
I think this week John Terry and the managers, I was watching them online. They're doing a lot of training, like defensive work and all that. So I think Leicester are going to win. If Kelechi can score, if Jamie Vardy can get a goal, I think Leicester will win. If Maddison gets some goals, I think Leicester are going to win.
What score are you expecting?
2-0.
2-0 Leicester.
2-1 Wolves. Costa header.
I say 1-0 Wolves. Just have enough. Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest. Could be a classic, could be a mid-off. What are we expecting?
It's a tough one because it just seems like the one kind of one. There's history in it too. It could be
Liverpool
one
are at
where
home, by the way. Anfield.
Sorry, Forest. 4-0 Liverpool.
Liverpool?
4-0 Liverpool.
4-0 Liverpool. 3-1.
Hey, what the fuck?
Hey.
It's return. Yeah, and obviously we've got Southampton on. Oh, we got a couple more games. Sunday, Bournemouth, West Ham, Bournemouth at home.
I fancy Bournemouth, 2-1 Bournemouth.
Go on, Bournemouth.
I fancy Bournemouth. Yeah, well, 3-1.
3-1 Bournemouth. And I think 1-0 West Ham. Might as well. Ruining our fun. So do your own job. And then lastly, for the weekend's games, Newcastle versus Tiny Tots, Tottenham Hotspurs. Saw their name right for once, the Spuds. What are you thinking, Craig?
Why? Newcastle were in good form until last week. Then they lost against Aston Villa.
Villa and also good form.
I fancy Newcastle, The way Tottenham's defence is this season, The way how Davinson Sanchez got abused by Tottenham fans the other day, yeah, I fancy Newcastle 3-2. Tottenham will definitely score, so I say 3-2.
3-2.
No champagne football for the Spurs, so it's going to be 2-1 Newcastle.
3-0, pun your head top. Hold that. So you're going to get 3-0 defeat away from home. That's what you're expecting. I would have said more, but got vested interest there. I want Newcastle to do well, but not too well. I think that we'll call that a wrap. Thanks for listening. What are your expectations? Do you think Arsenal should be concerned about these run of games where we're giving away goals like Charity FC over there? Or should we be happy that things will turn around? And if you're a Chelsea fan, how do you feel about the Frank Lampard disaster class era return nonsense thing? And how do you feel about Todd Bowley just generally turning up? And he's been going into the dressing room after every match, as Thiago Silva confirmed, not to complain, but to ask the players, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? How are you feeling? How do you think, Todd? There's bare man around here. They ain't getting minutes. Some of them were sitting outside. Now they've expanded the changing room so they can all fit. How do you think we're feeling? We're Chelsea and we're playing like a bag of crap. But keep asking us how we're feeling, because the therapy session is definitely working out. Anyway, that's us signing out. See you all next time.
Peace.
Peace.